Hi, I'm Alice Hoffmann, an indie comic artist from Austria. In today's video, I'll show you my entry for Bluekapo's Draw This in Your Style challenge on Instagram. It shows his OC Vari, who is part of his webcomic Vari's Charm. If you want to draw this cute OC girl as well, you can still enter the Draw This in Your Style challenge yourself, because it has no deadline. I'll link it in the description below. First up, a little confession, because I forgot to record the sketch stage of the drawing. I even have a sticky note to remind me to turn on the time-lapse function in my software, but yeah, oh well, maybe next time I will remember. In any case, I like to do Draw This in Your Style challenges sometimes for fun whenever I don't want to think of something new to draw, because yeah, you already got a character design ready in front of you and you just gotta draw your own interpretation. As for myself, I find it important to keep the pose and design as close to the original as I can, because I enjoy the direct comparison at the end, when you can sort of see the same thing in two completely different styles. Especially in terms of facial likeness, it can be very surprisingly hard to achieve it, I think, even though it seems very simple, doesn't it? Sometimes I still like experimenting with changing a certain aspect, like the perspective for example, or varying the pose only slightly. I've seen Draw This in Your Style entries that are very different from the original pose, which can also be interesting to see. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just kinda like sticking to the thing I see. Okay, so why did I join this specific Draw This in Your Style challenge? I absolutely love Vari's design, and I sometimes read Bluekapo's webtoon. I'm not fully caught up because I rarely get to read comics nowadays. It's kinda easier to fit watching YouTube videos into a day because I find it easier to eat while doing that. Anyway, it's always fun to see the progress of the webtoon on the Discord servers we are both part of. In my version of the drawing, I decided to go with a bird's eye view perspective because it makes characters seem even more adorable as if they are small, which of course fits Vari absolutely perfectly. My personal challenge was working without a reference for the pose to see where I stand in terms of anatomy studies. I don't want to become too reliant on using references. Also, I tried to keep the coloring as quick as possible while still, hopefully, having it look refined enough. I resisted using a second darker color for the shading for this reason. The highlights of the hair are not blended at all, which gives it a more crisp look. I might keep doing that more often for stylized art. Blending details can sometimes end up taking a lot of time, and I have a feeling that most people don't even notice it that much. At first I didn't know how I wanted to execute the dragon scale texture exactly, so I tried a few different brushes. The differences are probably hard to see now anyway, but I'm still happy with the choice I made eventually. Vari's dragon body parts of the design are so awesome in my opinion, especially the type of horns, which doesn't seem to be used very often as far as I know, even though it's very pretty. The funny thing is, I think the pose is okay, but at some point I noticed that one eye was shorter than the other one. That was absolutely not on purpose. In hindsight I thought this is pretty obvious, and why didn't I notice it earlier? I worked with Clip Studio Paint's oil paint brushes in order to gain a more organic texture compared to the character. That's the usual method to achieve a typical anime look. I kept it very rough in order to not spend a lot of time overall on it. This week was quite busy. In comparison to the original, I went with more of a sunset atmosphere because I thought it fits her red hair so nicely. I also played around with some pretty effect brushes at the end. I think you can slap these on nearly any drawing and it somehow looks better. Here's the end result and the original once more. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you can, take some time to do a fun activity as a breather from everyday life. See you next time. Bye!